No, as far as some stocks go, let's talk some stocks, some opportunities, some things I'm seeing out there that are interesting. Celsius continues to roll. The stock now up 99% so far this year. And when it comes to Celsius, the growth rates are insane. Like, this is a company that should be putting up triple-digit type growth rates for, honestly, at least the next probably 4 to 6 quarters. So, and then after that, we'll have to see where things even out at. There's a potential the company will probably, my guess is after the next 4 to 6 quarters where they come in with this triple digit revenue growth quarter in, quarter out, my guess is after that, this is a company that probably grows revenues, I would say in like the 8 to 15% range a year, right? A really good year for the company, the revenues grow about a 15% clip, a really bad year, 8%. But the thing is, in this next 4 to 6 quarters, we don't know, I'm pretty confident they're going to be growing triple digits, but how strong are triple digits? Because that's going to change the whole trajectory of where Celsius goes over the next 3-5 years. Because let's say they grow in revenues at 150% clip the next 4 to 6 quarters. Woo! If they're growing at like 105%, that's a big difference. Big difference. And then, if you're growing an 8 to 15% clip after that, that's going to be significant. I mean, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars of potential extra revenue or not. So the one thing I'm confident with Celsius is it's going to be like a triple-digit revenue grower for, at least the next 4 to 6 quarters, and then after that, probably toning it down to like a 8 to 15% type range, somewhere in there roughly. If they really knock it out of the ballpark and then we could be talking about a company that grows like 20%, but I don't want to hold my breath on that. But we do know there's a lot of international expansion ahead, right? Estee Lauder is in the midst of their big turnaround. We all know that, right? So EL, I can't wait to see their numbers in 2026. They should start to grow revenue again in 26. And on top of that, they've obviously done all the cost-cutting measures. So what we should witness from Estee Lauder is revenue going up, simultaneously margins going up at a much faster clip, and earnings per share going up much faster because the cost profile of the business is going down, right? Revenue goes up. What's going to happen to your earnings per share and your margins? It's going to explode, right? So the math is going to be looking very fun for EL in 26, in my opinion, right? You might even start to see it, honestly, this next quarter they report. You might get an early glimpse this next quarter, and then it's going to get more fun. Winning Resorts continues to win. Like, my gosh. Just a beast, right? Stock up now almost 54% this year, far outpacing the S&P 500, far outpacing the NASDAQ. And heck, I think Wynn's even beating NVIDIA, which is incredible, right? But when it comes to Wynn Resorts, people really want in that stock because of the Macau optionality there. And a lot of folks are very confident that the math is going to be looking very good in Macau for the next few years. And so if that plays out the way it could play out here, like Wynn's profitability could increase rapidly over the next year or two. And then if you get lower interest rates along with that, then we're really talking, right? Fubo up to 420 here on Fubo here. Everybody's waiting for that deal to close. So exciting in regards to that. Adobe's just been kind of chilling out. Salesforce and Adobe are two stocks that right now, I love them. I just want to buy every share in sight of those two particular stocks right now. They're very attractive forward Ps right now. Based upon my projections on both those stocks, there's a lot of upside potential in both of them over the next 3 to 5 years. So I like them both, man, and I feel very comfortable in them. Amazon continues to be a buy. Listen, here's a simple thing in regards to Amazon. Amazon's been a buy every year since 1996. It's the same thing. Like, there's never not been a year where Amazon stock was a buy. Never. The peak of the tech bubble, it was a buy. You say, well, it went down 90% in the tech bubble. Oh my gosh, at the lows, it was down 90%. Still buy. You bought at the very peak of the tech bubble, you still made ridiculous sums of money. There's never been a day, a week, a month, or a year where Amazon stock was not a buy. And that continues to this day. It's still a buy. There will be a day when Amazon is no longer a buy. But it's not in this decade. Like, at the earliest, you're talking maybe 2030s or 2040s in regards to that. The e-commerce business is just going to continue to grow. The logistics business is just going to continue to grow. AWS is just going to continue to grow. The advertising business is just going to continue to grow. I was just watching the game on Prime last night. They're showing ads that you can literally just hit a button and then it goes to your phone and you can buy it right there. Like, it's just insane, man. And they continue to have, a phenomenal innovation team there. They've made some great acquisitions. And so that one's going to continue to be a buy for a long, long time to go in the future. Now, if we look at big tech here today, Oracle continues to struggle. People don't believe really, I think, in a lot of those Oracle numbers they put up. Oracle stocks had a great year. I mean, look at this, up 70% this year. But look at the last little bit of time here. Ever since that rocketing of the stock, right, after those earnings came out, I mean, the stock's down almost 17% since then. So even if we pull up a 5-day here, on the past 5 days, Oracle stock's down 8.5%. That's a big down move. How much is the S&P 500 down in the past 5 trading days? Let's take a peek at this. It's down 0.2%. 0.2% the S&P 500 is down, and Oracle's down, let's see, past 5 days. Oracle's down 8.5%. Oh no, the S&P 500 is down 0.16%. And yet Oracle's down 8.54%. So people, I think, have a lot of trust issues with Oracle numbers, and I think for good reason. You look at some of the stuff that came out with Oracle in the tech bubble. Look into that sometime. Google it, okay? Go on Gemini. Go Gemini it someday, okay? Little fishy in regards to that. Shopify's up to 140. Their growth rates have been extraordinary. They've been growing at a very, very strong 20% plus, which has been extraordinary. AMD continues to kind of just be, AMD's kind of stuck in this 160 range right now. It seems like it goes, 155 to 165 right now. It's just stuck. My opinion is, as we get closer to the next quarter numbers, you could probably see momentum there. But when the next quarter numbers come out, wait to see the guide. The numbers are going to be extraordinary. AMD is going to report. I think they're going to report much stronger numbers than what analysts are expecting. But then the guidance, I think, is going to flip some people's flapjacks out there. And so AMD is on its way to 200 plus, right? As far as other than that in big tech, I don't really have too much else to comment on here. I mean, MU reported a great quarter, but MU stock is just a brutal stock. It's always been a brutal stock. They can report great numbers, but then people are always like, well, next quarter or next year, the numbers are going to start going down. They're always, at the end of the day, they're kind of like an NVIDIA in that sense of they go through these boom and bust cycles and people are scared of them, kind of like the home builders, right? RH got hit today, almost pushing into the with a 1 in front of it. I think it should already be there. There's possibilities of a bunch of tariffs coming on furniture items. RH makes a lot of its products, I'd say a ton of their products outside the United States of America. And so how those tariffs hit RH is not going to be good because RH, it's not like they've had great numbers as it is. And then if they have to deal with tariffs on top, it's not a good situation at all. So RH just continues to be a brutalized stock, and for good reason. They ruined their balance sheet. The company had a great balance sheet. The CEO decided to ruin it, and they deserve what they're getting. Make a really bad decision as a CEO like that. You get what you get, and that is what it is. Other than that, everything else in housing kind of, even Enphase continues to falter. That stock's just been obliterated. That was one of the most hot stocks in the stock market a few years ago. I mean, I remember so many people were trying to talk me into buying Enphase stock back here in 2022, right? Because it was one of the few stocks that was actually doing good back then. Literally, Enphase was one of the few stocks that was actually doing good back in that 2022 time frame. The market bottom in 2022 around that October time frame, right? You go to November on Enphase. Enphase is a $300+ stock. I had so many people trying to get me in that stock. Oh, solar to the moon. I'm like, I don't think so. I think there's going to be a huge come down period. I thought Enphase was just really benefiting massively from a ton of people upgrading to solar, really in that 2020, 2021 and into 2022 timeframe. A lot of people moving. And it was just a hot market, and interest rates were insanely low. And I thought it was just kind of a temporary thing, and 100% it was a temporary thing since that time period. And Enphase stocks are down around 90%. 90%. And then you hear how anti-solar the president is. Whew, brutal. And so Enphase, man, that's another example I'm giving you guys here of you can't get caught up into these things when they're the hottest thing and people only see the upside, right? Because I'm telling you, in 2022, you had a stock like Meta trading under $100. I was buying that stock hand over fist, right? I could have easily deployed that money into Enphase at the time because Enphase had the hype. Enphase had the stock that was being a beast. Enphase was loved. Everybody loved Enphase. Meta, no one liked it. Everybody hated that stock. They said I was crazy. I remember putting I think I invested like over $70,000 in Meta in one trading day. People said I was crazy. What? No one likes that stock. It's the worst. Look at Zuckerberg is spending out blah, 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 right? Oh my gosh, like I made 7 figures plus on Meta stock. If I would have put all that money in Enphase, I would have a negative 90% return to show for it. That would have completely changed the public accounts returns. Like literally that one decision to go with a stock like Meta over a stock like Enphase, oh my gosh, I could have ruined the portfolio. Like think about that for a moment. I could have ruined the public account. But since I went with the right stock, the rest is history, right? So keep that in mind, folks, man. You play this game on the wrong side, ooh, it's brutal. Ooh, it's so brutal. Don't get, when these things are in a hype cycle, just understand, and everybody's talking about it, and everybody loves it. Be careful. Be very, very careful. My possible buys watch list here. I'm wondering if I should take a few stocks off this. Like Bucks. I like Bucks, but do I really want to own Starbucks? I don't know. I mean, they got so much competition with Luckin Coffee in China. Luckin looks like they want to expand in North America. There's a competition I've been talking about for the last 6, 7, 8 years on the main channel, which is Dutch Bros, right? I don't know if I really want to own Bucks. And their balance sheet isn't great. The thing, what could really make me want to buy Starbucks is if they actually had good food options. Like that's the one piece I've always thought was missing with Starbucks. If they could Brian Niccol, the CEO of that company, if he could get Starbucks to make a few good food items, like fresh, made in the store, not what they do now, like open the package and throw it in a microwave type thing. No. You actually you get just a few options of food items, but they're actually really legit good. And I think that would be a game changer for Starbucks, but it seems like they don't want to go down that route. I think I'm going to delete Starbucks. I'll keep it on the possible buys watch list for now, but I kind of want to delete it. SoFi's still on there. Cava's still on there. Whirlpool's on there. Nike, Google, Amazon, Target, Cheesecake Factory, CRM. I might have just bought some CRM here today. Snowflake, Hershey's, Adobe, Wynn Resorts. LVMH is on there as well. That one's been interesting. Bath and Body Works.
Hey, it's Jeremy. I hope you really enjoyed that clip here today. Listen, there are 3 main areas a long-term investor has to understand. You have to understand financial statements, income statements, balance sheets, cash flows. You have to understand and master portfolio management. And you have to have the ability to project what is possible for companies in the coming years. Bearish scenarios, bullish scenarios. All these skills can be learned, and that's the good news. And I'm still just a regular guy who's out here. I just have a lot of passion for the market. I've learned a lot over the last 15 years. I had a tremendous amount of success, and I have a dedication to teaching people everything I have learned in the past 15 years. If I can do it, you can do it too. You can learn all that's required to become a great investor in my private group. The application is going to be down there in the description area. You can click on that, fill out an application, join us in the private group, get access to all my best course curriculums, teaching you everything that I got in my head, and you get ability to join our 6-figure, 7-figure Hall of Fame. We have such a tremendous Discord. It is incredible. So once again, description area down there, there's a link. You can apply to join my private group in there.
Alrighty, guys, let's get rolling here. The Jack Jackson stocks. What's going on here? Listen, when it comes to these stocks, I mean, they've just been an incredible disappointment. These stocks, they show so much promise, right? In these stocks in this space. And the reason they show so much promise is we know this is a massive category in the United States of America. The amount of this product that is enjoyed by Americans on a daily basis, right? And obviously it's a product that's worldwide, but I'm just really speaking about the United States of America and the American companies that are participating in this space, or the Canadian companies for that matter, right? Like, it's not like this is some secret, new product service that people are like, oh, I don't know if there's a market for that. No, there's a huge market for that. This is based upon estimates from a few years ago. Basically, the legal market here is $75 billion. I wouldn't be surprised if that number's low, right? No, the legal market's an issue in many ways, right? Because at the end of the day, if somebody gets caught selling the product, they have to go to jail, which is actually a stress on the financial system, right? because you take that person out of the economy, spending money, making money, things like that, and you throw them in jail. Okay, that costs a lot of money. So like that's not a good situation. Additionally, if this was all, imagine if the government was able to make money on all these sales that are going on, right? That's a lot of sales tax revenue. That's a lot of money to the federal government even, right? Local governments, like it's a huge deal. It's a lot of businesses that could be started, that would be successful and hire people and all those sorts of things, right? So now the price difference is a main issue. The government's always been the issue here, okay? It's not like this is like, oh, people want to go out of their way to buy this product illegally. They don't want to do that. People would love to if it was available, to buy legally for the same price they get it on the streets. But the issue is the government's in the way here. The government has basically the government acts like they want like this to be a fair legal market, but they don't when it comes down to the numbers, they don't. When you look at the numbers, it's brutal. It's almost impossible to compete with the legal market because of all these different taxes that are levied on these companies. They can't write off certain things. So we need a whole reclassification of this space. Now, Trump has teased idea over the past month or two about reclassification. We got to see if that happens. If that happens, it's massive for the category and we can start going from there. But the issue is the whole space is basically hindered by the government. And the government sucks. They suck. Both parties suck. Okay? They're horrible. Horrible. Awful. I don't know other way to put it. They're horrible. And so the thing that sucks about this space and why you can't get any continued momentum, and these stocks might be hot for a day, for a week, but it's just like the government. They, on the state level and the federal level, they get in their way constantly, man. And so it's an unfortunate situation, but it is what it is here. So stocks like the Planet, right? Perfect example. $100 million market cap or so. It always feels like this could be a stock that 10x's or 100x's, right? Like, oh my gosh, like with the amount of locations they have, with the brands they have in this space, like they could be the next Anheuser-Busch, right? They could be the next, Jack Daniels of space, blah, 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 right? It always feels like that, but the issue is the government never gets out of the way, so we aren't able to fulfill that like 10x to 100x opportunity where it's like, okay, this company could go from a $100 million market cap to a $1 billion market cap or a $10 billion market cap, right? $10 billion market cap for the Planet, you got 100x there. It's incredible, right? And it's not even like that's some crazy number, like 10 billion. But how are we going to get there if the government is consistently in the way? So I keep small positions in these stocks like Avant and like the Planet, but it has to just be extremely small positions because these stocks are extremely speculative. The government sucks, and I don't know what else to say about it other than that, man. So it just is what it is, right? Wynn versus RH, what's going on here? These sorts of things, okay? I posted this on my X page here today. Two rich people stocks headed in different directions. And yeah, these are both rich people stocks, right? Wynn obviously caters to the top 10% of wealthy income earners. RH really does the same exact thing. One's obviously a tourist destination, right? Resort company. And the other is a furniture company, right? So I asked this, and some people said things like, Wynn serves the highest end consumers. RH serves the middle class and is being crushed by endless costs. No, not true. RH, like, middle class is not going to RH to go buy couches and dining tables. If you've ever seen the price, no. You got to have some big money behind you to go to RH, right? So I could make an argument that actually Wynn could serve even lower customers because you could go to Wynn and go play at a slot machine for $5, right? RH is nothing for you unless you're a baller, okay? This individual says, wild how luxury stocks can diverge like this makes you think about the different types of rich spending experience versus big ticket items. Point about market rotations feels relevant here. Yeah, somewhat fair, right? I think Emily actually nailed it right here. She says, no one is selling their multi-million-dollar home with a 2.9% mortgage and buying new furniture. Instead, they're going to the Wynn enjoying their vacations. Fair point, right? That's more right on. That's more right on. Agreed. Like at the end of the day, when it comes to furniture sales, a lot of people buy new furniture when they move. Whether they move from an apartment to a house or from a house to another house, they go buy a bunch of furniture. They're like, this old stuff, I'm getting rid of it. I'm moving, moving on up. They're out, right? And so they go to RH, but no one's moving. Like it's just the market's pretty dead, right? And even on the high end, it's pretty dead. This individual says, furniture struggling for the same reason as Whirlpool, and no one can afford to move. Yeah, fair, right? Tariffs, who wants to buy furniture? Yeah, tariffs are certainly hurting RH as well. There's no doubt about that. But you could say the same thing in regards to Wynn. And you know why? Because all this tariff drama, all this negativity to Canadians, to Europeans, et cetera, it's definitely produced worse results, at least in the Las Vegas market, for international visitors. Like I live in Vegas, right? Our international visitor numbers have been bad. Like we've been down, I've seen some numbers like down 6, 7, 8, 9, 10%. So not an ideal situation. So you could kind of blame some of that also, but yet Wynn stock continues to perform. But I'll show you a big reason what's actually going on here. Okay, here's some little gems for you guys. Looking at the balance sheet, RH has $34 million of cash. Now, $34 million, if you're an average person, sounds like an insane amount of money. If you're a multi-billion dollar company, $34 million is not a lot of money. You're low. This is equivalent of a middle-class person having $100 in their pocket. And it's like, okay, no, let's say not $100 in your pocket, $100 in an emergency fund. And you're like, okay, you got $100 in your emergency fund, good. What is that going to cover? You can't even fix your flat tire for $100 for Pete's sake, okay? These dang Tesla tires keep going bad. Every other day it seems like I'll have to get new tires, $200, $300 a tire anyways. I don't want to get off subject here, but you're not going to cover much. And so when you got $30 million of cash, like you're not going to cover a lot when you're a multi-billion dollar company, right? Additionally, look at how much debt they have. Look at the term loans they have here, almost a $1.9 billion term loan there. This term loan's $467 million, huge. And they have a shareholder deficit of over $40 million. Now compare that to, let's go back 3 years ago and look at the difference versus where this company was 3 years ago. Over $2 billion of cash and cash equivalents. No way. They went from over $2 billion to just over $30 million. That's insane. Look at the stockholders' equity 3 years ago, $1.2 billion in stockholder equity versus a shareholder deficit now. What a turn. And it's because the CEO decided you want to do this massive share buyback, one of the worst decisions I've ever seen in corporate history. Horrible. And so now people are worried. They're like, what if the economy got worse? What if housing market? You never know when housing's going to bottom, right? Obviously, you would think housing will bottom sometime soon, right? If mortgage rates start going down. What if that doesn't happen? Could RH go bankrupt? It's a fair question. Like, is it possible? You never know, right? And so this is a company just in a bad situation. Now you look at Wynn Resorts on the other hand, right? Look at Wynn Resorts. This was their latest quarter. Almost $2 billion in cash and cash equivalents. What a difference in the balance sheet. You know, one decided to gamble their balance sheet in a huge way. And guess what? It wasn't the gambling company. Isn't that something? Who would have thought the furniture company would be the big gamblers in the house and decide to gamble their balance sheet on a massive, insane, out of control buyback? While Wynn Resorts, the gambling company, said, we're not going to gamble our balance sheet. Wow, isn't that something? No, additionally, Wynn has a big property that will be opening in 2027 in the Middle East, right? About a $5 billion budget project was announced back in 22, and it should be opening, I don't know, my guess is some point in the first half of 2027. So we're probably about, I would say about a year and a half out from that property opening. You want some updates on it? Look at that, baby. Some new pictures here. If you want to ever see pictures, you can go to this if you're into Wynn stock, that is. But glass time, baby. They got the glass going on. This is that beautiful property they're building in the Middle East. This is a one of one in that entire region. We know it's going to be a big deal. We just don't know how big of a deal it's going to be in the Middle East, right? But they have nothing like this. There's nothing you could compare this property to in the Middle East when you're talking about an integrated gaming resort that is multi-billion dollars and has gaming in it. Like, there's no comp for this. So it's the closest thing I've seen since Las Vegas Sands opened the Marina Bay Sands in Singapore, which has just been one of the biggest winning resorts in the history of mankind. Like, incredible the profits that resorts put off for Las Vegas Sands over the years. So yeah, it's a big deal, right? By the way, I might go to the Middle East in 2027. I've never been. I might go. I might stay at the property in 2027. I might do it. My question is for everybody out there that travels a lot. Listen, I know there's a lot of you guys that are traveling beasts. Should I do, in the next 2 years, I'm going to probably do a European trip for sure, and an Asian trip for sure in the next 2 years, right? Those will be separate trips though. But my question is for the Middle East, let's say I go to this property, maybe go to Dubai as well. Should I do it? You guys know I live in Vegas, right? Should I do it where when I do the European trip, by the way, European trip, I'm not going to the UK, I'm not going to France. I'll probably go to Monaco, and then I'll probably go to a few cities in Italy. But yeah, I'm not going to go to like a ton of different places in Europe. So I should call it a more European trip. A more of an Italy trip more than a European trip, because Italy will probably be the main focus. And then we can talk about Monaco and potentially somewhere in Spain. But should I do Asia, Middle East, or should I do Europe, Middle East? I don't know. You guys let me know. I'll look in the comments, okay, for my traveling beasts out there. No, there's a big deal in terms of this property opening. And the reason it's a big deal is this is going to be the first property opening without Steve Wynn. It's the first property, right? And some of that might be scary, like, geez, man, the first big property they're opening without the big dog, right? Steve Wynn at the company. But I got to tell you, you guys know I live in Vegas. I just said it, right? I go to the Wynn and Encore all the time. I was just down there 2 days ago for a massage. The spa's amazing. There's been no fall off in Wynn's property since Steve Wynn left. And I was scared about that. I was like, man, Steve Wynn's leaving. Like, maybe the property's going to fall off. Nope. If anything, guys, it's gotten better. The customer service has gotten better. The cleanliness has gotten better. Like, everything's actually gotten better at the Wynn properties since Steve Wynn left. And that's shocking. Because if you see like how much the MGM properties went down after Steve Wynn sold those to MGM, like, it was shocking. They're kind of a joke. Like Bellagio, you ever been to Bellagio Sportsbook? It's the saddest thing you've ever seen. It looks like it's still back in 1998 when they opened the property. Like, they haven't updated anything. It's so depressing. Meanwhile, at the Wynn, they just constantly are refreshing, constantly redoing, constantly keeping things modern, beautiful. There's been no fall off, man. So different companies doing different things out there.